WFIU, Bloomington, Indiana, where you don't need to be an expert if you learn something new every day.
It was a hot day throughout the entire state of Ohio. Jerry had started the day taking a couple of very effective stimulants, but after driving 8 hours with the windows down, Ernie felt she had evened out enough for them to stop for the night. And so they made it to Yellow Springs for an ice-cold drink in a friendly old haunt. A drink in a room was all Ernie wanted. He knew at any point Jerry could start celebrating. You see, being back on the road was a national holiday for that girl. He knew he had to be quick about things. It was all he could do to get to his plan of a little bit of business and a whole lot of sleep. But what he should have been prepared for was Ohio. For Ernie, it wasn't as simple a place as any other in the entire Union.
Hello, I'm Ernie Pyle, the Hoosier Vagabond, and this is that girl who rides with me.
Charmed, I'm sure.
Welcome to the Ernie Pyle Experiment, Episode 7, Not the Washington Post March.
Walter, we're just passing through.
I have my orders,
You
Ernie.
can't do that to a fella.
It's a rotten turn, I know.
If you tell him we will never stop here again.
That's how it is?
You bet it is.
Geraldine?
Yeah.
Ready for another?
Yeah.
Looks like Jerry wants to stay, Ernie. Take it up with your wife.
We love this tavern, always have, heck,
do?
always will, but I guarantee you this, there is a last time we will stop in here. Now, it might be after I'm dead, which by all rights, it should turn out that way, but if you force this issue, it will be right now, this instant. I'll take my wife and my typewriter and throw them both in the car. We'll head for Chillicothe.
Chillicothe, is it?
No, not Chillicothe. You're trying to track me already?
No.
No, not Chillicothe. I meant Gallipolis. No, wait. I mean Jackson. No, Athens. Sure.
Mr. Grote will give me a shiny $50 bill just as soon as I call the newsroom in Cincy. If you can beat that, I am available for sale.
Now, doggone Walter.
Let's just drink up and leave.
I'm tired. I've been driving all afternoon and evening in this heat.
Right.
Don't tell him I'm here. We love this place, Walter. How would you like it if the second you put your head on the stinky pillows you keep on the beds here and someone rings the phone or knocks on your door? Those Ohio jackasses, they have no shame. Well, they can't leave me alone?
I don't know, and I don't care.
Oh, sure, $50.
I am truly sorry, Ernie. Mr. Grote spends a lot more time in here than you do. I like you. I am a fan of your work, but I am a businessman.
Mr. Grote doesn't have a writer on his entire staff that can spell, period. So he's always hounding me. I'm selling papers all over the chain. He thinks I work for him. He's just one editor or one paper. There's more to this country than Ohio. Let me tell you what he'll do just as soon as you spill the beans. Jerry and I are here.
Besides, give me $50.
A drink and a room. That's all you're supposed to do, Walter. You should go to jail for such lawless graft.
You want another?
Sure, give me another.
Yep.
As sure as you're standing there, I'll be handed a gift-wrapped box of Bull Durham by morning.
Nice.
Oh, you bet.
You bet.
And some fat city clerk will stop by with the key to the city and a list of the 10 most interesting people in Yellow Springs. Probably tied to some businesses that advertise in the Cincinnati Post and the Columbus Citizen. Then I'll be watched and followed all over town by 3 fellows in a black Nash ambassador trying to be as invisible as a carload of union organizers. It is not a fair hand of solitaire you're dealing me, Walter.
I play bridge.
Oh, I hate that game.
Tell them about the Washington Post March.
Why do you hate bridge?
Culbertson and Lenz, why are there 2 bridge experts giving out strategy in every paper? It doesn't make sense to me. How can they be a help to every bridge player when every bridge player is reading the same strategy just the same as the next dumb
Tell
bridge
them
player?
about the Washington Post
Bridge
March.
players are among the smartest folks I know.
It doesn't make any sense. I gut Culbertson and Lenz and sell more advertising.
Give me a space. I'll write something. And tell them about the Washington Post March.
Oh, brother.
Tell me about the Washington Post March.
We flew into Akron last year. We were invited by the B.F. Goodrich Company to walk around some tire plant.
Yeah.
So we're driving over, and the motorcycle police surround our car, escort us to this little park where there's a bandstand all decorated with bunting like it's the 4th of July. And standing there in the bandstand, the Akron Police Relief Association marching band. As soon as they see Ernie, they strike up the Washington Post March.
Yeah, so?
It's a Washington Post march.
I heard that,
Don't you get it?
No.
They thought I worked for the Washington Post.
Don't you?
Oh, boy.
No, my paper is the Washington News.
There is no Washington News March.
Now you're getting it.
Why is that funny?
Nobody said it was. But now the combined editors of 5 Ohio Scripps papers all think that I love that song. And for some reason, wherever we go in Ohio, I'm given a large box of smoking tobacco, and then I get serenaded by all sort of musicians playing the damn song.
Everywhere we go.
And you don't like it.
I can't stand it.
In Cincinnati, we were having lunch with a vice president of the Ivory Soap, and this hillbilly with a boater comes playing a clarinet. He just jumped
I had to
on
yank
us.
the reed out of his
Nearly
mouth.
cracked you over the head with it. That hillbilly was as mad as a Hatfield.
That's funny. Hillbilly mad as a Hatfield.
Now, Walter, if that ends up in the column, you will know where it came from.
We have to look out for these shenanigans in every corner of Ohio, Walter.
Everywhere.
So would you
we
please
go.
just let a guy get a good night's sleep tonight? We're just passing through this time, for Pete's sake.
All right, Ernie. I'll let you have a free one. But you have to promise me next time I get to call Mr. Grote. $50 is $50.
I'll promise you that if you sell me that bottle of 4 Roses.
Done.
Thank you, old friend. You are one of the only good ones left in this state.
Thank
Well, let's go, girl. Let's get some sleep.
And so they settled in for the night. Ernie got on the phone to take care of a little newspaper business with one eye on Jerry. There were eggshells all along the path ahead of him, and now he had to worry about Ohio.
Washington Daily News, Lincoln 50905. Thank you, operator. Why'd they leave us just one cup in here?
I have no idea.
Go yell down to Walter and get us another cup. Lee Miller! Hey, yo, so-and-so. I know it. Okay, look, real quick now. This connection is spotty. Check the Columbus paper. They moved me from top of page 2 to bottom of 3. I appreciate that. You're damn right. That's it. No, they shouldn't have. I bet I'm not the only one complaining. No, you do it. Thank you, Lee. Thank you. Look, I have one other thing. Just one. All right, now, I also noticed that my prose had a kind of a clipped tone to it, if you know what I mean. The one about the hydroelectric dam project on the Upper Missouri. Oh, you did. That was you. You don't say. Well, I appreciate you being forward about it, though. If I never said anything, you'd never I write that way. I write the way I do for a reason, you old gas bag. Okay, change the subject. Oh, go ahead. It's limerick time, Jerry.
Already?
There once was a church girl with big knickers.
Oh, no.
You're off already.
Oh, boy, you got that
Jerry,
right.
listen to this. Okay, there once was a girl with big knickers, of which she kept stuffed with fine liquors. When she knelt for a prayer, her pockets would flare and was a reliable resource for vicars.
Stupid.
That can't be your best.
Oh, yes, it can.
Oh, another one? Oh, sure, go ahead. A modest young maid from Hoboken had her bodice thrown open. She turned real quick with her trusty broomstick, and the offender ran off with nose broken.
It's a disgusting pig. Boo!
Yeah, she's a big fan of yours.
He's editing you.
Go ahead. No, I haven't been working on any limerick.
Why are you so chicken to tell him how you feel?
I just did. Lee, just a minute.
He isn't even listening to you.
Keep it down.
Well,
he
he's
can
not
hear you.
hearing you.
I have taken care of it.
He still thinks he can boss you around.
Lee, just one more moment. I'll be right back. Jerry, take that machine and go in the other room right now. I have a business to run here. Go.
Lee Miller. I know you're listening to this, too. It's your turn. Ernie should be a lot harder on you. I just smashed your face through the phone. You think you're so smart, Washington Daily News editor? Big deal. If Ernie wanted the job, he'd be editor. You know it. You stink at it. Everything you know you learned from Ernie. Quit monkeying with his column. A basic proofread is all you should be doing. You right? You don't? Why? Because you stink. So, Ernie today looks over the Columbus paper and sees his words have been changed, and then I read it, you dolt. That was more than a simple repair. You completely restructured sentences. You can't change Ernie's syntax. He's been spending years in countless columns perfecting. Sometimes a sentence comes out a certain way, like an everyday person would say it, and it doesn't follow the rule of Strunk. It follows the rule of Pyle. You need to leave well enough alone. You need to leave greatness alone. I am taking care of well enough. And what the hell do you think I'm doing here? Do not stomp on my job. We don't need you, you parochial anthropomorph. And no, that isn't a word, but I'm sure you had to look it up to be sure. If you're such a fine writer, you get the job. You do it yourself. Just gets my goat. And last year, we had some people over, and your wife was talking to 4 or 3 women I didn't recognize, and she was telling them her husband Lee puts Ernie's words in order, and that you are Ernie, and that you're responsible for Ernie being such a success. Now, Lee, I wonder, where would she have heard such a thing? Who's putting those thoughts in her head? Does she really think so lowly of you that you need to tell her lies so she can see the hero in you? I stepped right up to her face and I said, "What have you ever done? You wash your husband's dishes."
Hey.
And I told Ernie, of course, but he didn't do much. He never gets mad. I can only imagine what you and your wife talk about when you talk about Ernie. Probably me now.
Jerry, shut up.
Don't tell me to shut up. I don't care. Ernie doesn't care.
Oh, the hell he doesn't.
Acts like it sometimes, but people think he gets mad.
Jerry.
It's just a show.
What has gotten into you?
Nobody has any respect for you, Ernie.
Well,
and I'm
I appreciate
sick of it.
that, but we are in a hotel
I
room
don't
here,
care.
and we
I don't
have
care
to be
anymore.
quiet.
It gets me so mad.
Yeah, well, apparently it does.
You don't care. You don't care one iota about me. You don't care one iota about my contribution to this organization.
What, are you nuts?
What do you call me that?
Okay.
Don't call me that!
Take it easy, Jerry. It's just a turn of phrase.
I'll turn a phrase around your neck in a minute.
Okay, Jerry, stop, please.
Do you
It's
ever
just
care?
you and
do you
me.
ever care about what I write about?
Well, of course
ever?
I do.
No, you don't.
Well, settle down.
Settle down. Let me see. Settle down.
No, I don't,
I
Jerry.
have something to say.
Let's lie down for a while, please.
He doesn't even put a show on for you, Lee Miller. For some reason, he loves you.
What?
And just so you know, because Ernie lets you go on thinking you're a genius of language, but everybody knows. You really get my goat, I tell you.
Can we put the booze away for a
Why
while?
can't you just let me say something, anything? You're the only one that gets to write anything around here.
Sorry if that caught you off guard there. It always caught Ernie that way too, I suppose. This time he found his way out of it with a distraction. A couple decks of cards and a score sheet. And with Jerry, things could always turn on a dime.
You should give me a head start.
No.
You ever heard of anybody playing solitaire in a gambling house?
I have.
Yeah. Me too, but would they let you play the cards yourself? Is that how it works, with someone sitting across the table
You
from
have
you
to be
keeping
dealt
watch?
and played to you by a dealer.
Well, it doesn't seem like solitaire then.
I suppose, but the other way, maybe card sharks dealing themselves underhand.
Oh, that's true. I don't know.
Ooh, almost.
So close. There's no making money in this game.
There is if you write a story about it.
Ooh. Yeah? Mm-hmm. You think I should?
Why not?
An entire column on solitaire?
Yeah, why not?
It's stupid. I just won.
Darn it.
Yep. I'm catching up now.
Tired.
I know it. You can fall asleep. I'll play a little bit more and catch up. What is that? Listen. Is that someone playing records?
Well, that sounds like a band.
A band? No, it sounds like people singing. In Ohio. Why are people singing?
The Washington Post March.
I'm not going to be able to do anything in this town tomorrow.
They're pretty good. Dad,
Oh, brother.
listen. Ooh, it's a barbershop quartet. They're good.
We need to leave.
No,
Maybe
no.
I should just go get a job with the Washington Post, and it could all make sense.
Aren't they good?
What the hell is a barbershop quartet doing singing in middle of midnight, Ohio? This is the strangest place on earth.
Well, we are safe now. We snuck out of Chillicothe in the middle of the night, drove about 20 miles down the road here. Then we had to take a nap. And Ernie woke up before dawn and put the typewriter on the front fender and just spit this one out. You ready?
Just a second.
Go ahead.
It is a matter of vexation to me that I must spend my life reading stories about Eli Culbertson and Sidney Lenz and other bridge sharks, and yet I can never find a word in the papers about the feats performed in that noblest of all card games, solitaire. What do I care about Eli and Sidney? Nothing. I have never played a game of bridge in my life and never intend to. If you play bridge, you have to play with somebody. Well, that cancels it for me. It's solitaire. You can miss a play or make a mistake and nobody in the world knows it but you, and you won't tell. You can sit, look at your cards for hours without batting an eye, and nobody'll scowl at you or cough. You don't have to open your mouth or say a word, except maybe to swear softly to yourself now and then when you only get 2 aces out. Solitaire is without fame in its own land. Who invented solitaire? We don't know. Why don't we find out? Build a big monument to him. Who is the champion solitaire player of the world? We don't know. Why don't we find out and run his picture every Sunday in the magazine sections? Is there a solitaire player who has never cheated? Probably not, but why don't we find out? And if there is, build a legend around him, as we did with George and his hatchet. Solitaire is wonderful on ships, or on trains, or in bleak hotel rooms where time drags, or at home in the evenings when you have company you don't like. It is also the perfect setup for an inhibited gambling spirit. There are, I imagine, any number of people like myself who have an inborn hitch for gambling, but who never gamble because they can't bear to lose. Solitaire is just the thing for us. We can imagine we're playing in the gambling house, and we deal in big figures. And at the end of the evening, we lost $387, and we don't have to pay it. I stayed 1 week in a hotel where the light was too dim for reading, the heat went off at 7 o'clock, and there wasn't even an old-fashioned rocking chair. So I put on a couple of sweaters, pulled up a hard-bottom chair, put a pillow on it, and played solitaire. Every night for a week. Altogether, I played about 70 games. I won, got all the cards out, only once. Once just by little dribbles. I came out slightly ahead for the evening. All the other evenings, I went steadily downhill. At the end of the week, I was some $600 in the red. I kept track on the back of an envelope, and when I left, I threw the envelope in the wastebasket. I've talked with solitaire players all over the country. Every one of them seems to know somebody who once played solitaire in a gambling house, but I have yet to meet a person who himself had played it in a gambling house. And I wonder if you really can. Once I met an old man on a boat who played constantly. He said he had kept count of his progress for years, and that he was way ahead. He said he could win in a gambling house. He could. It is true, except that they wouldn't let him play. They'd throw him right through the front window. He just moved his cards wherever they'd do the most good, whether they fit or not.
That's a good one.
Well, thank you. And Lee Miller, I dare you to cut this one up.
So do I. Let's get the heck out of Ohio.
Next time on the Ernie Pyle Experiment.
It was in the soft, warm spring of 1923 that I first saw Washington.
He started as a cub reporter and worked his way through every task in the newsroom. In that time, he developed himself as a writer, creating his first fan base.
Hey, you're Ernie Pyle.
Oh, no.
Ernie Pyle, remember me?
No. When a fella's been shooting around the country and then goes back to Washington and walks down the street, all the people he knows stop and shake hands. One fella stopped me on the street and said, "I'm the man whose poem you wouldn't publish last winter."
It's the cherry blossom that lifts. The guilt of misdeeded politicians that lifts.
Oh.
It's Washington himself that never told a lie. Baloney, I say. My axe will make short shrift.
Holy jeez, we gotta get back on the road.
Back next week with more stories from the Ernie Pyle Experiment. I'm Dan V. Prescott reminding you that the good road will never end if you only stay on it.
The Ernie Pyle Experiment is produced at WFIU on the campus of Indiana University. For complete credits of cast and crew for each episode and to find past episodes, visit WFIU.org/Ernie Pyle Podcast. Also, find the Ernie Pyle Experiment wherever you access your media.
WFIU, Bloomington, Indiana, where if you can't beat them, join them. So here goes. I've been carrying on and off for decades now. Touché, Bloomington. WFIU, Bloomington, Indiana, where you don't need to be an expert if you learn something new every day.
For almost 10 years, Ernie worked various jobs for the Washington Daily News. He started as a cub reporter and worked his way through every task in the newsroom. In that time, he developed himself as a writer, creating his first fan base, the people of Washington, D.C. Until now, however, he was able to maneuver through life as an unknown face in the crowd. Until now, he could be himself without thinking about the ramifications of losing his job if, say, a certain someone didn't pay attention to such ramifications.
Hello, this is Ernie Pyle, the Hoosier Vagabond. And with me right here is that girl who rides with me.
Ha! Maybe. Maybe not.
Welcome to the Ernie Pyle Experiment, Episode 8. Have you been away?
Look, if we don't finish these eggs right now...
There's a dozen eggs.
That's exactly why we need to.
Why did you boil a dozen eggs last night when you knew we were going to be home today?
We brought the eggs from your folks' place.
So?
So? If I have to explain how long eggs keep to a
All right,
goddamn
so you
chicken
boiled
farmer...
them. They'll keep now. Why can't we eat them at home?
We won't.
Why not?
Good question. When do we ever eat at home?
Good question. Another good question is I can't eat 6 eggs right now.
Oh, you're eating 9.
What?
I can only manage 2, but I'll sacrifice for the common good and go for 3.
9?
9! Don't argue with me.
I ain't even hungry.
There's starving children in West Virginia, and you ain't hungry.
Oh, boy. I'm going to throw up.
Oh, you better not.
That Midwest wind will have nothing on me.
Here.
Oh, it's about time.
Don't drink it all.
It's the only way, dear. It's the only way. Bourbon and eggs. I can't eat anymore, really.
You've only had 4.
You've only had 1.
I was taught a lady eats like a bird.
Well, dang it, you're the only one who gets to eat like a lady around here. Give me that.
Hey, you're Ernie Pyle.
Oh, no.
Ernie Pyle, remember me?
Boy.
No,
I sent a poem in to the paper to publish, and you never did.
you don't say.
Name's Brian Keenan.
That doesn't make sense.
Sending in a poem?
Sometimes, but no. How would I know who you were just by the fact you sent in a poem?
Well, I'm Brian Keenan.
I never heard of
I'm
you.
the one who sent in the poem.
Oh, you're the one.
Brian Keenan.
Brian Keenan, you don't say. Well, long time no see.
Well, we've never met.
Don't worry about it, Ernie. It's just McPherson Square. It does this to people.
What'd she say?
Oh, we just said McPherson Square's lovely in the afternoon. We've been away for a few months now. We just drove into the district about an hour ago, and we thought we'd stop here, have a nice little lunch between the two of us, right here in the square, right here beneath the general statue, before we went on home.
Major General.
Right.
McPherson. You know this statue's made out of Confederate cannons.
I do. Keenan, you're Irish.
No, I'm American.
Of course you are. You wouldn't want a hard-boiled egg, would you?
No, thank you.
No, I wouldn't either.
What'd you think of the poem?
What poem?
My poem I sent to the Daily News. You are the editor, aren't you?
Well, at one time I did a little of that.
Right,
sure.
you remember now, don't you?
Well, Brian Keenan, there were a lot of poems.
A walk in the pink canopy of yesteryear's gift. On Potomac's old shore, my memories sift.
Well, that's not bad.
From actions taken and held, frozen in winter's guilt. Into the grace of distraction, a promise may shift.
Wow.
It's the cherry blossom.
Very good.
The cherry blossom that lifts. The guilt of misdeeded politicians it lifts.
Oh.
It's Washington himself that never told a lie. Baloney, I say. My axe will make short shrift.
Misdeeded?
It's poetry.
Oh, sure.
The cherry blossom.
Yeah, now I remember this. Now, didn't you send this in around July?
Yeah, I thought you would remember.
Well, you sent it in July, sure. But the cherry blossoms come out end of March.
So?
You'd have a better chance of sending in February. Anyway, nice meeting.
I have another if you like. I have plenty. Many written down. My mother listens to them all the time.
And so it goes, that when one of the crowd takes notice of a familiar face, it doesn't take long for everyone else around to notice as well. Ernie wanted to make himself scarce, and so, with a made-up excuse, he left Jerry under the statue with boyfriend Jim and the eggs and the bourbon.
Left a sink full of dishes when we left last December. I'm in no hurry. McPherson Square. When I first come here 18 years ago, I don't feel myself here anymore. Hello, Jim. My 5th of 4 roses is out, but I did put some rum in my thermos. Oh boy. Got some folks staring at me like I'm crazy. Some crazy hobo or something. Some crazy hobo talking to herself. Ernie went off on foot to see the boys in the newsroom, so I'll take the car home in a bit, or maybe I'll leave it here and walk myself. Yeah. Got here 1918, Jimmy boy. They were recruiting women for the war effort. I was young. I had to get the hell out of Minnesota. My dad let me go. He figured I'll be back when it's over, but I just kept telling him it's still going on. Jimmy, they had me doing office work, typing and running around, and Ernie came a few years later after that. He can write. Better than you, Jim. I thought he was funny. We met. That was it. We were always playing with words, and we still do when he feels like it. No, enough not telling anyone. I'm gonna go find my own thing to do. I have to consider anybody's ideas. He's so damn lucky he's doing what he's doing. Make each other laugh, Jim. So, I'm lucky, too. I'm just carrying on. I don't know what else I would do. I just have the... See, it's kind of brilliance or genius a person with words has. And I could think like them. And I don't do it. There's a Lot to be said for doing nothing. I mean it. Jimmy boy. I gotta be around it. It's very attractive. Mostly those born with it have no other positive attributes. Lucky for him, it's the only thing I'm attracted to. Oh, shh, don't get jealous now, Jim. I would certainly not call Ernie a genius to his face. A bunch of Victorians waving little stick flags come from Lafayette Square. Right from across the White House, Jim. That's where folks go to worship. They do. They stand there staring at it like Roosevelt's gonna come out and autograph their Bibles, waving their little flags in their hands like it's the fourth quarter of a football game. If they cheer loud enough, it'll matter. Don't go there. I did once. When I first got here, I shouldn't probably be too snobby about it. Most of them probably first-timers, too, and they're getting caught up. It just gets my goat, and they start genuflecting. So, I'm fine here, Pearson Square, where nothing means anything. Yeah? What are you looking at?
What's that, ma'am?
I said, evening, friend.
Are you drinking in public?
What? You a judge?
You can't sleep here. This isn't a Hooverville.
You can't talk to the bonus army like that.
Bonus army?
Yeah, I'm waiting on my check. They said they'd be here with it today.
Bonus army was sent home 2 years ago.
Dang.
And you're a woman.
Just because I'm wearing a dress?
I'm getting the police.
You go ahead.
Hey,
you
come over here.
civilized
Police!
Victorian
Come over here, police.
monkey! I just came from Lafayette. Holy jeez, we gotta get back on the road, Jim. The Victorians are taking over the city! I ain't showing a bottle for crap's sake! I'm the only one sneaking a drink in this town. You aren't looking close enough. This whole place is drunk. Everyone. Victorians!
Good evening,
Get out of
ma'am.
my
You
way.
all right?
Twins can't see me.
Ma'am. Ma'am.
Feeling all right, ma'am?
Ma'am.
What?
Good evening, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Just talking
You all
to my
right?
boyfriend.
Have you been drinking, ma'am?
Have you?
What's your name?
What's yours?
Are you a resident of Washington?
Sometimes. I'm sorry, Jim.
Do you have any
Have you
identification?
been drinking, ma'am?
Boy, Victorians. Here.
What's her name?
Pyle.
Pyle?
Pyle.
As in, ma'am, do you know Ernie Pyle?
Who doesn't?
Are you the missus?
Okay.
Ah, well, how about that?
How about what?
You're the girl who rides with him?
Oh,
We know Ernie.
yeah, who doesn't? I already said that.
No, I mean
Oh,
it.
so do I, you knucklehead. He knows everybody in this town.
No, we were at your place a couple years back. Brought our wives. Real honor. Everyone knows the Pyle party.
big honor.
The
Yeah.
old Pyle speakeasy.
You were in the kitchen the whole time. We never got introduced. I don't think. I can't remember. I couldn't remember
me
the
neither.
entire next day either.
Mrs. Pyle, have you been drinking?
We've had a complaint.
You're gonna haul everybody in for drinking in this town. You need to start on the hill.
Well,
Well, that's as may be,
if you were at home or indoors, it wouldn't matter so much.
Be anywhere I want.
Mrs. Pyle, they said you were ranting, talking to yourself.
Talking to myself.
Well, who were you talking to when we walked up?
My boyfriend.
Boyfriend? Mrs. Pyle. Where's Mr. Pyle?
I have no idea.
Where's your boyfriend then?
He's right here. Where's yours?
What the hell is that?
Record your goddamn voice. I don't have time to sit here giving you knuckleheads a science lesson. I'm not taking questions at this time.
Well, I'll be. What'll they think up next?
So you were just sitting here talking into
I
this?
was. You want a drink?
Ah, Say, Mike, I have an idea.
I myself have no idea why Jerry went along with her plan, but after a series of lowered inhibitions, along with her innate need to never take life seriously, she did. And now, we happen to find ourselves at the front stoop of the old Pyle place.
You ready?
Hide it a little more.
Where?
Over there. Kick it over farther.
I'm
More.
trying. It's
More.
on that.
Oh, not that far.
I'm
Okay,
sorry.
all right,
I'm
that's
sorry.
it. Time's
Okay,
up. Come on,
okay,
come on,
fine.
come on.
Yes, yes.
Come
I'm
Hello? Officer?
Ernie.
Hey, how are you, Joe? Mike?
Hello, old timer.
Hey there. Well, come on in. Can I get you a drink?
Well, not so fast yet.
Oh,
Well,
what is it?
We found your wife.
Go on.
apparently she.
Ernie, she robbed a bank.
Yeah.
She what?
She did. She sure did.
I guess she had been drinking.
She robbed a what now?
The bank.
What bank?
Federal Home Loan Bank board building.
Federal Home. Well, there's no money in there.
She didn't know that.
She claims they tricked her.
And she's pressing charges.
That my car parked right there?
Yeah.
I believe it is.
Is that my wife waving at me from the back seat?
It is indeed.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be putting me on, would you?
Oh, no.
Oh,
no.
Boy, you
Never.
about gave me a heart attack. So
Yes, Ernie Pyle?
you're putting me on.
Yes, Ernie Pyle, you have been had.
Except the drunk part. We aren't lying about that.
No, we are not lying about that. She is drunk for sure.
She was drinking under the statue in McPherson Square, hassling and scaring people.
That part
So,
is also true.
We were walking a beat, so we loaded her in your car and drove her here.
And her boyfriend.
Oh, yeah.
Boyfriend, huh?
him too.
Where is that thing?
She wanted to hear your reaction, so...
So we did. It's right there by your feet.
It was his idea. It was his idea.
Hey, don't blame
It was
me.
his
No,
idea.
no,
Well, I
you
got
guess
me.
that's funny.
It is funny.
it's really funny.
It's
Come on.
brilliant.
I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
We got you. We got you good, Ernie.
You wouldn't mind bringing her up here, would you?
In a minute. First, let's get that drink. Also, she may need to dry out a little. So come on.
All right. Come on in. Oh, I tell you. I'm turning this thing on so that tomorrow morning you can hear what you sound like.
Go ahead.
You're not going to stay drunk the entire time we're home.
Okay, Mom. Mom, thanks, Mama.
When you do this on the road, we can just leave town. Nobody knows who you are, and I'm not embarrassed and apologizing
Thanks for
everywhere.
the favor, Ma.
Don't be like this. I don't want to have to
Don't
worry
be
about
like
you
this.
the whole time we're home.
I can find my way home. Not like you. 3 miles from Washington, you gotta ask directions.
Well, they changed the roads on
I
me.
didn't change anything. It's a Maryfield, Virginia. It's right there, for crap's sake. 3 miles that away.
Please don't stay drunk while we're
Okay.
here. We have a lot of friends to see, a lot of folks on the business side of things. And
I said
we'll be back on the road in a week, and you can drink then. It'll be better. It'll be fun. I'll match you drink for drink.
You can't match your socks and underwear.
I am serious,
To
girl.
Mom. Ma. Mother. Mom.
Don't start making me mad.
I'll make you.
Now, doggone
I'll
it.
make you a drink.
Yeah, okay. That's a good idea. Go ahead. Now, just try and get some sleep, would you? I'm going to hit the keys.
Good idea, Mother. Put this scab and fill your mouth with this.
You want to hear this? All right. 6,000 miles behind us, and the white glow in the night of the Capitol dome ahead. 6,000 miles of Canada and the United States without getting lost by as much as a block. And here, within 8 miles of the White House, we went through a place called Merrifield, Virginia, which we had never heard of before.
I heard of it. It was daytime.
Please don't interrupt me.
I forgot.
You can't stomp all over.
I know. Go on. Start over.
8 miles of the White House. Merrifield, Virginia, which I never heard of before, and had to stop and ask the way. It was in the soft, warm spring of 1923 that I first saw Washington. I was a cub reporter, and the editor had compassionately invited me to stay at his hotel until I found a place to live. We were walking to work that first morning, walking with the world ahead of me, walking through McPherson Square, so green and pretty, with people sitting leisurely on the benches, even as early as 7 o'clock. And the editor said to me, "You'll probably like Washington, but let me warn you, don't stay here too long. It's a nice, easy city, and people get in a rut, and if you stay till you get to liking it too well, you'll never leave. You'll just settle down to a pleasant routine and never amount to anything." When I came back in 1935, I had been heeding that editor's advice for a dozen years, always getting out of Washington. But somehow or other, I kept coming back. Maybe it was the city that pulled me back, or maybe it was some stubborn part of me that didn't want to amount to anything. Anyway, here I was again. I've often wondered how Washington achieved the appearance and the niceties of a small town while retaining the best features of the big city. Anyone who sends in the correct answer plus $10 in gold can have my expired season pass to the American League ball games. My only guess is Washington, on the edge of the real South, naturally has some of the South's delightful slothfulness. A good big percentage of the population came here from somewhere else, many of them from small towns. Physically, Washington is broad and smooth. Its parks are big and numerous, its streets are wide, and its buildings low. And the result is spaciousness. Many of its people live in apartment houses, hence the city doesn't spread all over the eastern seaboard. A good part of its population is in comfortable circumstances, so that the pinched look and the anxious stare and the go to hurry, hurry, hurry seldom settles on the citizens of Washington. The whole thing summed up makes for easy living. When a fella's been shooting around the country and then goes back to Washington and walks down the street, all the people he knows stop and shake hands and say, "How was the trip?" So you say fine and you chat for a minute or two. One fella stopped me on the street and said, "I'm the man whose poem you wouldn't publish last winter." I started to square off, make what little defense I could, but he said he just wanted to say hello, and he didn't suppose he ever would get it published anywhere. So you see, when I sit at home in the evening reading in the original Greek and thinking about my friends and what a diversified lot they are, I feel very proud of them. I'm proud of myself, too, for knowing them. Of course, I just dismissed all of those who stop and say, "Have you been away?" or "Where are you working now?" or who want to talk about what they've been doing.
I like how you just end it like that.
Oh, do you now?
You have to find a rhythm. If you don't read it right, it feels like it peters out.
Yeah. Well, there's a right way and a wrong way to read everything, I suppose.
That a political statement?
No. But rhythm, yeah, you gotta have that.
I hear it.
Well, I'm glad one of my readers gets me.
What?
Oh, nothing. I mean, thanks.
Next time on the Ernie Pyle Experiment.
It's 4 a.m. We're home in Washington, and the phone rang an hour ago with some very bad news. A pilot is missing.
One night my phone rang, and a hurried voice said, "What do you know about Howard?"
So, come now. What do we know?
Just that at some point yesterday, Howard took off from Wyoming, headed for Salt Lake City. He never made it.
That's it?
That's all I know yet.
No evidence of a crash, fire,
No,
anything?
I'm sorry, I haven't heard.
Missing. And that is aviation at its worst. Sudden news of death is like a knockout blow. It hurts and bewilders, and then it gradually diminishes. But missing, that is a torture screw.
Hello, Ernie.
Hi, everybody. Listen, my influence on the aviation world in this town has shifted. It's a longer climb to the top to get to the bottom of things anymore.
Well, it's worth sitting at home by yourself waiting for word. At least we can feel like it used to be when your phone was the first to get the news.
Have you called the White House?
Back next week with more stories from the Ernie Pyle experiment. I'm Dan V. Prescott, reminding you that the good road never ends if you can only stay on it.
The Ernie Pyle Experiment is produced at WFIU on the campus of Indiana University. For complete credits of cast and crew for each episode and to find past episodes, visit WFIU.org/Ernie Pyle Podcast. Also, find the Ernie Pyle Experiment wherever you access your media.
WFIU, Bloomington, Indiana. I'm Carrie. Oh, I don't even care anymore. It's not my real name anyway. O'Nanan, that's my nom de microphone. My first boss in public radio told me I needed an NPR name, something to fit into the pantheon of pretentious monikers known to our institution. Someone suggested Carrie O'Nanan, and I said, well, why not use my real name? And they asked, well, what's your real name? And I told them the truth. Ted Bundy. So my hand was summarily and sanctimoniously forced, and that was the day I became Carrie O'Nanan. Though, to this day, I still drive a cream-colored 1968 Volkswagen Beetle, the car of the people. It's amazing what you can fit into the trunk of those things.